Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome into our latest TDR Cannabis at 5 presented by Dutchie. I'm your host, Shad Dales, and here's what's new. President Trump, as you know, still hasn't acted on his promise to reschedule cannabis, and now more than 2 months later, Senator Ron Wyden is calling that delay extremely concerning. So we've covered rescheduling from every angle you can imagine, but this story is no longer about what it is, it's about why it hasn't happened, the pause, the silence. What that tells us about where the White House really stands on reform heading into the final 2 months of the year and heading into 2026. So with that, let's get into our latest TDR Cannabis in 5 presented by Dutchie. So first up, the big question is how much weight does Senator Ron Wyden really play being out of the state of Oregon? Regardless of which way you look at it, when a senator speaks on the delay of rescheduling and finds it deeply concerning, it's going to grab people's attention. Reasons why, because back in August, there was rumors swirling about Trump saying that he was supporting cannabis going from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3, recognizing the medical value, easing research limits, and ending the industry's brutal 280E tax penalty. So it sounded imminent in some ways, and investors priced it in. CEOs probably were thinking this could be the dawning of a new era. Then, even further to that, the White House commented again on August 11th, saying rescheduling was under review, and that single statement lit up the industry, and that a decision would be coming soon, in a few weeks. So everyone assumed action would be happening within those few weeks. But here we are, 10 weeks later, and still nothing. No executive order, no DOJ directive, no DEA timeline. So Senator Ron Wyden, here's where he comes in. He's one of Congress's stronger reform voices. He says that delay perpetuates the injustices of the failed war on drugs. And guess what? He's right. Every day cannabis stays in Schedule 1, legitimate businesses again stay taxed like criminals, and patients are treated as though their medicine has no accepted medical use. Now, I get on the state level, you can get access to a lot of this stuff. But what about the Americans that have jobs where if they consume cannabis, even from a medical perspective, they could lose their jobs? And if you're ever in a situation like that, there's only one thing I would do. I would call Morgan & Morgan, and here's a word from them right now. Hey everyone, there's a reason smart investors celebrate when their portfolio jumps 40% in a year, just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Think about it. When you're investing, you want the right team in your corner. The same is true if you're injured in dealing with an insurance company, and that is where Morgan & Morgan comes into the equation. Why? Well, they've got more than 1,000 attorneys and over 100 offices nationwide, and they've been fighting for people for over 35 years, and their track record is hard to ignore. Let me explain a little bit further. Case in point, in Florida, a client was offered $350,000, but walked away with $12 million. In Pennsylvania, another client, they turned $650,000 offer into $26 million. That's a 40x return. So in total, Morgan & Morgan, they've recovered more than $25 billion for over 500,000 clients. So really, when you hire him, it's like bringing in a legal army that has your back. Because if you're injured due to someone else's negligence, you deserve to be paid. And let's be honest, not all law firms are created equal. But with Morgan & Morgan, their fee is free unless they win. You can start your claim right now by clicking the link in the description below or by scanning this QR code on your screen with your phone. At the end of the day, if you want what you deserve, make sure you go in with the right team by contacting Morgan & Morgan today. Now, let's get back to the rest of our video. All right, let's get back to where we left off. Rescheduling, as we know, it isn't symbolic, it's actually structural. Here's what I mean by that. Moving cannabis to Schedule 3 would open, as I said before many times, research access, it would relieve 280E tax burdens, and finally bring federal policy closer to reality. It doesn't legalize cannabis nationwide, but I really want to emphasize on this again and again. It modernizes a system stuck right now in the 1970s. So when the president promises that change, then goes silent for 10 weeks, it leaves operators guessing, investors second guessing, and regulators completely stalled. And quite honestly, we've been waiting for so long in this industry, it is becoming very, very frustrating. Make the decision already. So inside the White House, there are reports about a tug and war that's going on right now, and that's why we're in this situation. Again, here's what I mean. Political advisors see an opportunity. Rescheduling could appeal to younger voters, veterans, and independents who already back reform. But conservative policy aides worry about optics. They don't want headlines saying Trump legalize drugs. So now, timing, messaging, and election calculus are clashing right now. And whatever momentum existed back in August has now cooled in a hurry. That August 11th comment, it sparked speculation that something big was coming. But now, 10 weeks later, there's been zero follow-through. And many people are starting to go down that road again about second-guessing about whether this happens or not. Again, I believe it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when, and that's the frustrating part. So on Capitol Hill, lawmakers are clearly frustrated as well, but it's important to remember, rescheduling doesn't require Congress. This is a purely executive action. The president, through the DOJ and the DEA, can make this move without a single vote. So that's why Wyden's warning hits harder. Congress can't fix the delay, only the administration can. Now, yes, Congress has turned its attention back to budget deadlines and defense bills, so they're distracted, which makes sense. But distraction isn't obstruction. The holdup lives inside the White House, not Congress. So as we fast forward here today, for operators and investors, this limbo is becoming expensive. If rescheduling had happened back in September, companies would already be adjusting to 2026 tax guidance, valuations would be stabilizing, and capital might finally be returning to U.S. cannabis. Instead, CFOs are still modeling worst-case scenarios, and every rumor out of D.C., it moves the market. So that kind of uncertainty, it kills momentum, and it's testing patience across the industry, myself included. And politically, credibility's now definitely on the line. So Trump, he's built his image, as we know, around decisive action. Rescheduling is actually one of the simplest administrative moves he could deliver, and one that would definitely have immediate economic impact. So the question becomes this: is this delay tactical, or is this commitment fading? And to calm everybody's nerves, it's tactical. Yes, it's going to happen, but this delay, it's being overthought. Keep it simple. So here's what to watch in the weeks ahead. First is the Federal Register. That's where any proposed rule to move cannabis to Schedule 3 must appear. Until it's there, nothing's moving. Second is timing. The administration hinted at action before year end, but each week that passes, it makes that window a little bit smaller. And third, we have pressure. If more senators join Wyden in publicly calling out the delay, it could force the White House to finally act. But highly doubt it, because many senators are saying more important things to worry about right now. So the big picture in all this, cannabis policy is now part of the national conversation, but Washington still treats it like a political liability. Public support indeed is overwhelming. It is popular, but is it important? States have built billion-dollar industries, and Wall Street is obviously ready as well. Yet the federal government remains stuck between acknowledging reality and fearing optics, stuff that was basically manufactured in the 1970s. So if Trump wants to prove he can modernize outdated policy, this is the easiest win for him. No congressional vote, no gridlock, just an executive decision. So to wrap it up, Trump promised rescheduling, but 10 weeks later, still no action. The August 11th White House comment triggered speculation that something soon was happening, but it hasn't, and Senator Ron Wyden and others are raising the alarms. Also, Congress may be distracted by budget fights, but they're not the obstacle here. This decision sits entirely within the White House. And whatever momentum we saw back in August, it's definitely cooled to where we are today here in the late parts of October. So we'll keep tracking every move, because once that Federal Register notice appears, it changes everything. So with that, that's your latest TDR Cannabis in 5 presented by Dutchie. Leave your comments below and let us know, how frustrated are you with these delays? Any kind of feedback, positive or negative, I get it. Let us know what you're thinking by leaving your comments below. And as usual, make sure to like, subscribe, and smash on that bell for all notifications. That's it for now. And like I always say, stay open-minded, stay connected, and I'll see you in the next video. Again, I'm your host, Shad Dales, and thanks again for watching.